Welcome to Neocosmism. So I just dropped my girlfriend off at work. Decided to do a quick video here in the parking lot. Didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm kind of tired, but that's okay. Keeping the daily vids going. So the topic today is, why does Neocosmism matter right now? When I tell the idea to people, they usually say something like, well, John, if you're right and we do go to the future when we die, problem solved. We don't really have to do anything. Well, I understand why people say this, but that's not really the idea. The idea is actually that there's kind of a multiverse. So there are multiple futures out there, multiple presents, multiple pasts, but most importantly, those multiple futures. So think of it this way. Right now, if you die, what would happen? Which future would resurrect you? Would it be a good future, bad future? How would the possibilities unfold? Well, right now, it's just kind of random. I think of this whole thing as dying and getting resurrected later. I think a good metaphor is like when you go into the hospital for a surgery. You choose a good hospital, you choose a good doctor, you choose a good team, then you go in and you go unconscious with the knowledge that they're the ones who are going to work on you and bring you back. And you wake up and you're like, okay, did you do what I told you to do? Did you do a good job? And hopefully they did. Now, if instead of going to a hospital, there's something wrong with you and you just kind of pass out in the forest, then what happens to you is kind of up to the universe. You pass out, you might wake up in a hospital, or you might never wake up, or you wake up and you're getting like eaten by a bear or something. So that's how resurrection is portrayed in Neocosmism. If society is on a good path and you've kind of like left instructions for people to resurrect you in a benevolent fashion, then the odds are that when you die and you'll transition or wake up a moment later in like this benevolent future, people that you told to resurrect you will have resurrected you and everything works out. But if you don't do this, then it's kind of up to the whim of the multiverse. And you could end up in some kind of hellish future or a bad future. So maybe we can all go to different futures. This idea aligns with many ideas in spirituality, where there are good outcomes, but there's still a danger, a bad outcome. So be a good person, make the world a better place, and you're more likely to get the good outcome. Be a horrible person and make the world into like a hell, you'll get the bad outcome. Because remember, who is going to resurrect you in a benevolent fashion? It will be a benevolent future, and they'll be looking for good people, basically, right? People who helped build their future. When I think of people that I would like to resurrect, I think of people like Nikola Tesla, people who helped make the world a better place. So that's why this idea matters right now. It's kind of like how we always say, if I only knew then what I know now. If I knew in high school what I know now, man, I would have done this or I would have done that. Maybe this is kind of an idea where we are getting an edge. We could be like early adopters. We're finding out now that the future is actually essentially our afterlife. And the one thing we know about time is that people in the past are the ones with the power. So that means we get a say in our afterlife. Personally, I call this the time capsule effect. I'll probably go into this specifically in more detail in future videos. But there was a movie, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Awesome movie, go watch it. Now this movie deals with time travel in case you haven't seen it. But in the movie, Bill and Ted are very aware that time travel is possible, of course. At the end of the movie, they get in a fight with the villain, and I can still remember this clearly. And they kept saying things like, if we win, then in the future we're gonna take our time machine and come in the past and put a gun here. And then they would go to this area, they'd pull out a gun that their future selves had put there. So this idea of communicating to the future, you know, our future selves or whatever, the people in the future or the beings in the future who will have this power through time. And then having those beings in the future affect our present through some kind of time travel or temporal engineering. I call this idea the time capsule effect, which is essentially what we're trying to harness. So the idea in Neocosmism is that we figured out it's probably these beings in the future who have been kind of messing with us. All these spiritual interactions, taking our consciousness into the future when we die, things like that. And this gives us a real edge. We're important to the afterlife. This world matters. The material world matters because we're their past. So in a way, we have power over them, which is an interesting idea, to have power over your afterlife. There's no other real idea out there that does that. This also explains why we would matter to them. Might be multiple futures competing over a past timeline. There's obviously a lot of really interesting ideas that need to be explored. But right now, I'm just talking about this idea that it does matter what we do right now. So when you hear about the idea of Neocosmism, don't think, well, it's all taken care of. When I die, I get warped to the future. You still need to make the world a better place. And more importantly, to have this effect over the future. Maybe we need to harness this time capsule effect by communicating to that future, like via time capsule. Leave messages. This is what I want the future to be like. This is how I want you to resurrect me. This is the place I want to be resurrected in. This is the body I want to be resurrected in. Who knows? All of these ideas need to be explored by people much smarter than me. So that's the video for today. Hit the like and subscribe button. I'm going to keep the daily vids coming. Thank you and goodbye.